Now I request Dr. Fauzia Khan, Honorable Member of Parliament, to give a few words and also can take forward if any questions are there.
Thank you, in this hall. First of all, I must congratulate the organization for having arranged a discussion on a very, very important subject. And as a woman, I can say, since as a woman I empathize more with women, obviously, but what I can say is that we have been living in a society for years, for centuries, which is not a just society. It's only after, the 20th century that people have started thinking that if society has to be just, women have to be equal. No woman wants to be above men, but equality is the right of women, and if equality is not provided to women, society can never be a just society. So I'm glad that we are moving towards becoming a just society, and organizations like Vasavya and Womennovators, there are many, many more organizations who want to work in this field so that we can transform this society to a just society, but it's easier said than done. And as we all know, that no matter how many laws we have, unless the mindset of society is transformed, we will never be able to achieve the goal. And it's a global problem. It's not limited to our country. Because here we are talking about maintenance and settlement. But obviously women are deprived of their rights not only as far as marriage is concerned, they are deprived in every area. And somebody just mentioned that even before the girl is born, she is killed just for being a girl in the womb. So right from there, women's rights are snatched away from them. So it's a kind of situation where every one of us has to come together. And only women cannot make a difference. It has to be a combined effort of society as a whole, and we need to fight the patriarchal mindset and transform this society into a just one. Now, as ma'am, you spoke about a national women's policy. The policy, what I know of is in 1992, a national women's policy came in, and it was first launched in Maharashtra by Honorable Sharad Pawarji, and then later on it was brought also as a national women's policy. It means that the development or the empowerment of women has to be a wholesome one from all sides, social, political, educational, in every way. And it has to become a government program, because whatever government sponsors has power. And that is why many laws started coming into existence, and many programs and welfares and benefits started going to women. Today we are still talking about toilets. We are still talking about such fundamental things. Sometimes we feel that the circle is going back and round, and we are where we were. But sometimes we feel encouraged when recently I went to felicitate some sarpanchs, women sarpanchs. I realized that these women sarpanchs are highly educated. We saw a transformation I saw in front of my own eyes, because Some years earlier, when I used to go and meet a woman's sarpanch, she would be like a woman who has covered her head and who cannot read and write, and she is not even brought up onto the stage. But now I saw like highly educated women whom I was felicitating, and I said, yes, this is a transformation. And how did this transformation take place? It's only because women are brought into leadership roles. In the initial days, men worked for women. In these local self-government sector, where reservation was provided to women, we saw men working and women only the puppets, the dolls. They said, they are there, they should hoist the flag and all. So hoisting was done by women, but work was still being done by men, and it still is. But there is a transformation happening because women got a quota, women got reservation politically. And because of this reservation, this mindset of millions, how many years, I don't know, I'm calling millions of years, but yes. So, this can happen when women are brought into leadership roles. Unless that takes place, I don't think this can happen the way we are thinking we should be going forward. Because we cannot be entangled with toilets even now. Such basic things. And even to try to save our girl children from being aborted. So, we have to move ahead, and even globally, the UN also believes in the theme of putting women into leadership roles. She should be a leader in the family. She should be a leader in the local self-government. She should be a leader equal in number in parliament, in legislative assemblies, in judiciary, in bureaucracy, in every sector of life. Unless we have the numbers, there cannot be a change in the way we are planning to do so. And I think that's where we should move ahead. And that should be the struggle. Right now, it's a very happy situation for India because the BJP government has all the numbers. They don't have to combat with anybody in the parliament. They simply have to bring the bill and it is passed. The way they are passing many bills. So, why is the Women's Reservation Bill not being brought into Parliament is the question. We will bring in the maintenance bill, yes, but it's only a small section of the problem that we are facing. You know, you have married women who are left, when we talk about maintenance, we talk about men who can afford or who can be traced, or we know that these are the men, they are salaried, we can deduct their salary. But what about the lakhs of women who are abandoned? In slums, you see almost a second household where women are living alone with their children and the men have left them and gone, and there is no trace of who this man is. So how will we provide them maintenance? That is the larger issue here. And I think this abandonment, every domestic help, the bai who comes to work in my house to wash my utensils is an abandoned woman. And everybody would agree that whoever comes to your house as a house help is an abandoned woman who's living in a slum with children and managing things on her own. It's such a large canvas. And as you rightly said, things go unreported when we are beaten. Women are beaten, abused, and sometimes when you go and try to save a woman from when she's getting actually beaten by her husband, she says, who are you to interfere? He's my husband, he has the right to beat me. So why have you come to save me? This is the mindset. Now it's a very, very long fight for us. But since we have taken up the baton, I think we are moving forward in the right direction. And one at a time, you can't go all together for everything. But we should have the final goal in our mind. It cannot be just providing maintenance. It cannot be just giving the settlement. we could think about, for the maintenance, if we speak about it, we could think about having a maintenance enforcement agency in place in the nation, so that this agency has the sole mandate of doing just, tracing and finding out and managing that. But at the same time, we have these counseling centers in our police stations, and at every police station, I think we have a women's, a committee that counsels women before they are taken to the police station to file a case. So these committees can be given the mandate to make a survey of slums and find out how many women are actually living an unsupported life, and trying to help them by tracing where their husband is, so that he can be traced and he can be asked to support these women. And if he doesn't agree to it, then we go in for filing a case. The Domestic Violence Act has these protection officers, and these protection officers, can have a larger mandate of doing so. So we need to have these surveys made. But at the same time, when I'm talking about this larger picture, I would also want to say that if you have to change the mindset, let's begin at the age where it can be changed. In schools, at very young, developing formative age, where we can educate our children about gender, what is gender, and how gender roles cannot be, different. Because in our families, we have got specifically defined gender roles. Men, make a joke. If somebody says that ye ghar mein bartan dho raha hai, to it's a joke. Why should it be a joke? Why should people laugh at it? If a woman can wash utensils, she can wash clothes. What is wrong if a husband does that? This we have to teach the young minds. Gender roles need not be so specific. And why should girls only do the household work and the boys get all the privilege of going out and enjoying themselves and getting, going to better schools than girls? Why this discrimination? All this has to be somewhere in society. It has to be done away with. And we have to begin with educating our young boys in schools. Let them, if the father is beating the mother at home, let the child come and tell the school that my mother is beaten by my father. What a teacher can do, even parents cannot do. So much a teacher has influence over children. But this program has to be, run by the government fully. The syllabus, the curriculum has to include all these things. And only then we can think about changing mindset. So one is that women should be brought into leadership roles everywhere. The other is that we have to educate and make our children aware. And at the same time, we need to educate our women, particularly legal literacy, financial literacy. Ma'am, you just said that if woman is financially independent, she's empowered. But there are situations at a very, very large scale that there are working women, they earn, but they have no knowledge about how their money is spent, how many times the GPF is withdrawn from her salary, what is done, what is the property of the family, or in whose name it is. The woman knows nothing. She has no control over her own earnings. In most families, men don't earn. Nowadays, women are getting more jobs than men. They may be teachers, they may be working as nurses in hospitals, and the man has no job, but he has the job of controlling his wife. Why did you look there? Why did you look this side? At whom did you stare? All this control the man asserts over an earning woman. So it's not as simple as just her becoming financially independent and she's empowered. It's a very, very complex situation, and we need to work from all fronts. I am there with this subject. I am there with you all. You can always come brief us, educate us, what more can we do in policy making. We are all there, and certainly for this issue at least, we will also be with you. If you call us onto the roads, we are there on the streets and the roads also to protest and to fight for the cause of women. Thank you.
Just I want to put Fauzia Khan ji, a few questions that during COVID, domestic violence increased as all the outside support had gone. Women are most unsafe in their homes, not reported. Because of patriarchal mindset, people are quite saying it's private matter, but it has to be taken as public social issue, which we can say is a public health issue also. For gender equality, change has to start from home. With no correct data, most don't report. What do you think is the solution for it, and how can we address it on the national level? How can a common woman represent herself on such a burning issue? Her contribution to GDP growth be recognized.
Actually, what I just spoke was covered, most of these points were covered in my words when I spoke. You are right that during the pandemic, there was increased domestic violence, and the world called it a shadow pandemic because so much of abuse was seen. Reporting also was increased during that time, but as you are rightly saying, that reporting is just at the tip of the iceberg. There's so much abuse everywhere, and women don't come out to report. So what can be done about it? As I just said, that unless women are empowered in every way, educationally, socially, politically, the mindset will not change. And unless this mindset is changed, it will remain. Women feel themselves that yes, it's okay if we are beaten. If there's violence, it's okay because that's the right of our husband or the father or whoever he is. So we need to change this, and I think education is one way to do it. Educating the women about their legal rights. They need to first know that they can go and they should have faith in the judicial system. If you consider the amount of pendency in courts, people have started losing faith on this system as a whole. So where do they go for justice? Because they may have go against their families, come out and report or go to the court. But then they lose the family support, and at the same time there is, tariq pe tariq, tariq pe tariq, then when will the end come and they will finally get justice? So this is a very unhappy situation. But I think the easiest way to do it, ma'am, is put women into leadership roles, and that the government can do. And we all should, as women, struggle for the bill to be passed in Parliament, and also ensure that other organizations, other pillars of democracy like judiciary, like the bureaucracy, also give equal opportunity to women. Countries of Latin America which have given the quotas to women, country like Rwanda has got 61% women now in their parliament. A country like UAE, the United Arab Emirates, they have got 50% women in their government. So many countries are ahead of us. And we are patting our backs by saying that so many new women have come this time, when we are only 14%. The average of the global average is 25%. We are only 14%. And we were already 5% when India became independent. So we just moved 9% in 75 years. And that's very shameful. I think more women need to come into these leadership roles, even in corporate sector. Because even in the corporate sector, you see that in the topmost positions, you see very few women. So unless this justice is meted out, it's very difficult to fight this menace of domestic violence.